Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys have heard that an agreement has been reached between the port dock workers and the 6 owners of those ports. According to the details of the deal, there will be progressive increases in pay raises, and oh, by the way, this deal isn't permanent. It's supposed to last until sometime in January. But what I would like to discuss in this live is the economic impacts of the PortStrke, and also to get your thoughts on if you think this is March ado about nothing, or do you think it could have had disastrous effects on the economy? Word has it that the strike itself would have cost upward of $4 billion a day in losses. $4 billion a day in losses. Could the economy sustain such huge losses? Could it be the reason why drastic measures were not taken to allow for collective bargaining to take place? People familiar with the situation said at some point people were calling for some kind of an order to compel those port workers to basically return to work. But the administration decided to not do that. Like, they decided to let the bargaining process take its course. So they pretty much acted as a mediator, which sometimes you do need mediators when there's organizational issues. But to do the mediation, people have to actually have a clean. They have to be. All right. So, what do you guys think so far? Is that something that could have been avoided, or is it just what you do about nothing? Like I said, I'd like to know what your comments are. So in this live again, I'd like you guys to continue to provide your thoughts about the processes. And by all means, if something doesn't feel right, and you're in a situation, for example, where you're trying to buy a new car, or you had an older car, you're trying to basically upgrade a car, I want you to be able to make the right decisions for your particular situation. If you're joining this live right now, please, I appreciate if you give us a thumbs up. Also, click the subscribe button and the bell. When you ring the bell, it's going to notify you when new videos are up or when I go live. And I appreciate you joining the chat. And also, somewhere in the description below, you're going to see a link to actually join the channel. When you join the channel, you're going to be getting exclusive access to merch at discounts. But that's not all. You also get access to new videos before I release them as part of my group. You get access to those videos. And what I would like to also describe in today's live is the fact that when it comes to product development, logistics, you cannot underestimate the importance of having a good distribution network. And you all know that I'm focused on the automotive industry primarily because I love cars and I like sharing content about cars, but I also have a business background. So if you guys don't know, I'm an entrepreneur and I have a business background, and that's why I like to touch on issues such as the PortStrke. and the decision for those folks to get back to work, because $4 billion per day is a lot of money, and that's what it would cost if they did not get back to work per day. And in an economy that's supposedly seeing a resurgence, what you don't want is a situation where additional costs are being triggered. Okay? Additional costs, which would then lead to less availability of products. All right? And that's a big issue. It's a big issue. Now, given that the deal apparently was put in place, I think it was sometime yesterday, I'm not sure how quickly the ports are going to be open. What I'm going to really do is I'll give you a bird's eye view of the port here in Tampa, and you tell me what you think. If you think activities are back to normal, if you think it's just it's not quite where it's supposed to be, things of that nature. Now I'm driving. As I'm driving, I'm seeing a lot of trucks, things of that nature. I wonder if they're going to the port. They probably are. They probably are going to the port. Again, I would like to see if I can give you guys a bird's eye view. So bear with me. If you're joining, thank you. We're talking about the PortStrke. I'm going to try to show you guys what the port looks like here in Tampa. So you just saw a bird's eye view of the port of Tampa. It's a very important port. As a matter of fact, it has the most activities in the state of Florida. So with the conclusion apparently of the deal that was reached to keep these ports open, I'm curious to see when and how, or how quickly they'd be able to come back to service. But having said that too, do you really think this strike is over? Is it really over, or is this just the beginning? Because people familiar with the conversations think that this was just a short-term agreement to allow folks to come back to the bargaining table. Because it appears they didn't do that. They were not ready to do work. They weren't ready to do work. The negotiation was basically stalled for a long time until you had the administration chime in. So it appears they're gonna be open again, and hopefully things will go according to plans. I see a lot of trucks waiting to deliver fuel, because if you guys are not aware, we're just coming out of a hurricane here in Florida, and imagine a situation where we could not have the essential commodities to get back to normal, right? And that's why it was very crucial that the port quickly got back to normal and resumed activities. I'm driving by the port right now as we speak. There's different things that the port does. As you're also aware, the port also has terminals for cruise ships. So people go on cruises. Imagine if you couldn't go on a cruise, you had a cruise plan, and then something happened, and the next year you couldn't go on that cruise because of this supposed port strike. All right, and right now I'm going to be also sharing some scenery so you can see exactly what's going on in terms of the cruise activities. I see a couple of ships, some cruise ships. It looks like the cruise ships are coming back, and so people may be able to quickly board and go on a cruise. All right, so that's happening. So in essence, I want to know, are you going to continue to go on cruises? Or if you have a cruise plan, are you going to be apprehensive or worried that you may not be able to go on these cruises? I don't know. Again, like I said, I think right now the cruises are coming back. You see Royal Caribbean Enchantment Terminal 2. So they're coming back. That's the port headquarters right here. And you can see there's a lot of things going on. That's a cruise ship right there. I think Royal Caribbean. So they're getting ready to go. All right. So people are starting to take full advantage of the benefits of the port. But what I'm not quite sure is this going to be temporary? Each time a cruise ship comes here in Tampa Bay, it means business, right? So that means a lot of the shops that are here, a lot of the restaurants, there's also some sporting activities. That means they're going to get an uptick in business. But with a port strike, is that going to be something that will be detrimental to the economy? Okay, so I'm going to leave the chat lines open right now. Tell me what you think. Tell me if the port strike is completed, or is it just a temporary band-aid? Is it a temporary fix that ultimately is going to cost a whole bunch of problems, and it's going to lead to possible, again, I'm using this word very carefully, possible economic downturn? From your perspective, what do you think? Do you think that may be the case? All right, because I went on a cruise on a Royal Caribbean, I think about 2 years ago. It was a good experience. That was my first time going on a cruise. So the question then becomes, is this going to be something where people get denied an opportunity at having fun? See, this cruise ship just got here, and I'm not going to be able to show you the people, but they just got off this cruise ship, which means that while they were coming to Tampa, there was a port strike, so they couldn't dock, right? They couldn't dock. So it took them maybe another day to dock right here at cruise terminal number 2. And I'm not sure to what extent this has destabilized people's travel plans, right? It probably has destabilized people's travel plans, and I don't think it's a good thing, all right? So you have a lot of people on duty right now directing traffic. There's a lot of money involved with the cruise industry, and I wonder to what extent they were also part of the negotiation, or to try to advocate or influence the outcome of the strike. There's a lot of people right here lined up. They just got off the cruise, and the question becomes, would all these stores possibly go out of business because they'll be losing a lot of money, which is the economic impact scenario. Okay, so that's the ship right there, as you can see it. That's the cruise ship. All right, so you have all this going on in Tampa Bay, and you're wondering, is this gonna be like a thing of the past? You're gonna have a situation where people are gonna be unable to make the money that they can make? I'm not sure. And I'm just wanting to analyze this, because I'll tell you, this area of Tampa Bay has seen a lot of growth in terms of new businesses coming here. As a matter of fact, I did hear that I think some investment outfits were actually making more investments in this area of Tampa to see if there could be more restaurants, and everything is determinant on what you see right here. This port, okay? This port. This particular ship is called Enchantment of the Seas. I don't think that's the one I went on. But, again, these are serious matters, and I'll give you guys another bird's eye view of the ship. And so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. So, yeah. It's another bird's eye view. You can take a look at it. You can also have a little view of means you're going to be losing business, right? You're going to be in a situation where you're not going to be able to make the money that you expecting to make as a business person in Tampa, right? So when I say that losing $4 billion per day is a bad thing, I mean it, because you've seen what I just showed you, guys and girls. So I need you to comment below. What do you think the economic impact of a port strike is? Again, some cities don't have what we have here in Tampa Bay. But take your city for example. Would you be able to go to Walmart and get the commodities you're looking for? Would you be able to like get stuff? And what if the price of certain things, and I've heard people started basically hoarding, toilet papers. They started buying that stuff. But do you know that toilet paper is actually made here in the States? So there's not a necessity to actually hoard nor buy those. There's no necessity to do that. But it's being done. People are hoarding stuff because they think the PortStrke is going to make those products basically scarce. You guys heard about scarcity, but that's a manufacturer's scarcity, right? It's a manufacturer. So what I would like would be a resolution, a permanent resolution to that PortStrke. All right, because again, cities like Tampa Bay right here that are growing need all the resources to continue to grow, including resources to make sure these developments are continuing, right? So those resources include good paying jobs, proper wages, and the like, right? When it comes to the good paying jobs, part of it, it means that at some point the workers deserve better pay raises. I don't know about the conditions of the jobs, but I suspect that these are the conditions that are necessary to continue economic development, right? Infrastructure development, roads, bridges, and all that stuff, all right? Because I believe that when you have good paying labor market and you have the right folks working the right jobs at the right time, you're going to be in a situation where you can attract not just local investments, you can also attract entrepreneurship. Like I just gave you a good example. All those folks that just came out of that ship, Enchantment of the Sea from Royal Caribbean, they're going to be looking for places to stay. They're going to be spending money here. They're going to be going to games. And it doesn't stop. They're going to be enjoying themselves. And like I said, we are recovering right here, right now, in Florida from Hurricane Helene. So it would never have made any sense to be in a situation where the port was shut. It was shut down because of some labor dispute. That would have been the wrong time to close the port, shut it down. So, but I really want to know, in your neck of the woods, what do you think the economic impact? Again, you don't have to use Tampa Bay as an example, or the port of Tampa, because this is just it's a city that has a port that's growing. Again, remember, it's growing, and there's a lot of developments all around. So the economic impact in a city like Tampa, Florida, may be different than the economic impact in, say, Omaha, Nebraska. But at the end of the day, if I was to walk into a Publix or walk into a Walmart, would I be in the position to get exactly what I'm looking for? If I wanted to buy material, would I be able to save money on my purchases, or would I be in a situation where I practically don't have anything because there could have been a PortStrke that took stuff away from me, right? Products would have been unavailable, all right? I wouldn't have been able to go buy a bike so I could ride my bike on Bayshore Boulevard. I don't know. This is some of the things that I've been talking about for a while. As a matter of fact, I want to like you to, I'm going to invite you right now to look at one of the books that's somewhere in the description below, dealing with the ensuing recession that I wrote. And in that book, it's available on Amazon, it's an ebook. In that book, I warned such a scenario and what needed to happen to ensure that you are ready for an ensuing recession. And I know the economy is supposedly getting better right now, which is good. Job numbers are improving. But I think there's also opportunities for another black swan event that nobody knows about. From what I heard, this was supposed to be the October surprise, the PortStrke. It was supposed to be our October surprise, but I'm glad it's paused for now, because again, remember, we are still recovering right here in Tampa Bay, and I'll show you, see the trucks, Tampa, we're still recovering, so there's still opportunities to encourage people to come back and enjoy themselves, right? So we're still growing. But does that mean that the recovery is going to stop? I don't know. I don't know if the recovery is going to stop. But I know if we don't get our act together quickly in terms of providing enough incentives for people to continue to make the kinds of investment that they needed to make, then we're going to be in the same position we'll find ourselves in. Repeatedly, same position. That may not be such a bad thing to invest in the economy and development, but what could be really worse is when you have a situation where, in spite of the recovery that's happening, and I tell you what, most of these homes here could have been underwater because of Hurricane Helene. It was really bad. So this is probably the first weekend that they could come back and run and do things. But imagine if they were doing these activities and they couldn't buy bread, or because that's the one thing that people just go buy bread and they buy toilet paper. Imagine they could do these activities, but they couldn't buy the essentials, or the essentials that were available were overpriced. Okay, some of these folks lost power. These utility companies are only now trying to restore power in some places, and when you look at the view, and I'll show you just a little bit. You can see the sea is a beautiful day here in Tampa Bay, right? But imagine this whole water. There's like 9 foot worth of water all over the place. All right, but so that's what happened. That's what happened a couple of days ago, about a week ago, and people are still recovering. And word has it that there might be another storm. I hope it doesn't come this way, but if it does, what are we to do? So I'd like to know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be dropping another update about this PortStrke, and it's going to entail you telling me exactly what it is that you want to do. Don't forget to check out the books that are somewhere in the description below, and also comment on what I've just gone through. And if you'd like to join the channel, I'll recommend you click the join now button. When you join the channel, you're going to get access to exclusive merch at a discounted rate. You're also going to get shout outs during my lives. Plus, you're going to get access to some of my videos before I get them released. So again, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be talking pretty soon.